All right, it says we're live. What time is it?
11:55.
We got 5 minutes. And I brought music. Hope everyone's doing really good. Doesn't show that anyone's on right now. Hey. Everyone, hey, how's it going? Susan Cunningham, what up? Sorry if that was... Hello, Dada from Arizona. Jillian, how's it going? Joshua Mize? Josh? It's a good strong name, man. Yes, it is 5 minutes early. Thank you for pointing that out. I wanted to make sure that this worked, and it does. And I thought, what better way to lead into this than with some music? So, I hope everyone's having a good day. Your weather's as good as this. Toledo, yo. South Dakota, jeez. Thank you. I think it's pretty as well. Uncle Kenny, how's it going? Hey, Will. This is good, but I wasn't too sure if it was going to get across. My internet connection was good last time, so... Hi, Sarah. I'm making sure it was good this time. This is dope. I'm assuming everyone can hear me, yeah? So today, just going to be talking about some wilderness-based teachings. I'll be explaining a little bit more about who I am and how I came to know some of the things that I know. And hopefully, by sharing the things that have been given to me, we can lift some spirits, bring some smiles, challenge some thoughts, and make some powerful moves to the future. Hey, Theta. No, Josh, can you see me? Oh, where am I at? That's what you meant. Good one. I am in Santa Ynez, California. And the name of the village site that we're actually on is, what's the name, babe? Kalawashak. Yes, here in Kalawashak, but now called Santa Ynez, which is just outside of Santa Barbara, about 30 minutes. It is a beautiful place, for sure. We are on a res, and there are a lot of dogs, so occasionally we might be visited by some of their loud barks. Maybe even a chicken will show up, who knows? Theta? Eva. Theta says hi. What's that time? It is now 12 o'clock. We have 87 people watching. Hello, 87 people. And hello, Shailene Joseph. Welcome to today's Power Hour put on by the Native Wellness Institute. My name is Joshua Cocker, and I will be taking you for a ride for the next hour. Oko fia fia ki he whangamaria koe ni, ke whakatahai ko hokoloto mo ki moto he ahoni, and what a beautiful day it is today. My name is Joshua Cocker. My mom's people are Kiowa. We're originally actually from up in the cold country. Montana, Yellowstone, Wyoming area is where we are originally from. But now we find ourselves in Oklahoma, Anadarko, Oklahoma, Carnegie, Oklahoma, Lawton, Oklahoma. If any of you wild Indians out there know where that is, sing something from Johnny Cash. Benjamin Covington, you and I would be good friends, my man. Maybe we are. I can't really see your profile picture right now, but maybe in another video I will, for sure. My dad's people, the Cocker side, come from Tonga. And if anyone knows what Tonga is, it's in the South Pacific. It's a beautiful kingdom of islands. Famous for whale watching, actually. And we are originally, born in Aotearoa in New Zealand. So Tongan and Kaiwa by way of New Zealand, all over the place. All over the place. My dad's side, for any of the Tongans watching, from Te Whisi and Kolmotua, which is in Vava'u and Tongatapu. My mom's family, we come from the Elk clan. My Kaiwa side is Redstone and Rainy Mountain Kaiwas. And I'm super happy to be here with all of you guys today. I wanted to introduce myself, tell you a little bit about who I am and where I'm from, because knowing who I am and where I'm from will better help us ground the things that I'm going to say. I want to start first off by saying that I am 26 years old. And hold on. I am 27. Am I 27?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm 27. So I'm 27 years old. Hey, Uncle Gene. Hey, Lorena. And as a 27-year-old man, I've done my part and tried my best to be able to retain the teachings of my elders, the things that have been given to me, and to go out and seek new understandings, new teachings, new ways, things that help me and my family and what I perceive to be my people to move along to a better way. And in that pursuit, I have come across some crazy cool places. Back home in New Zealand in Aotearoa, I had the opportunity to stay with some navigators, a young navigator named Tamaho, and also join him on a voyage from Tauranga up to Kawhia to take a waka up there or canoe, voyaging canoe, Polynesian voyaging canoe, for Waitangi Day celebration. So that was pretty cool. Got to meet Papa Hector, who is Sir Hector as well, crowned by the Queen, and he has a waka building school, canoe building school, up in a place called Urdere. Papa Hector has walked home, is no longer with us in this life, but I had a chance to meet him before he passed on. I've had a chance to spend time with his niece, Jolene Busby, and to trade stories and to trade insights with all of that crew back home, and as well as back home in Tonga. I was raised, although being born in New Zealand, I was raised in Oklahoma, and at the age of 14, I was asked to be what's called in our tribe an Ade Tali of the Tonkonga Warrior Society. And what that means is they choose 2 Ade Tali and 2 Ade Matan, Tali being boy, Matan being girl, to raise in our traditions. And so from that young age, I was able to be mentored by some of the great elders of what I perceive to be the great elders of my time, very wise and powerful men and women, to help me better understand my place in my community and what it is that I can do to help things move along. So we got 85 people here, and I'm gonna put this out there for anyone who's watching and can listen and hear. If these dogs are too much for you, let me know. Pretty sure we're all okay with it, but I don't want to speak for everyone here. So I can move. I prefer not to, but if it is too much, just let me know. And so I'm super blessed to have been able to have the upbringing that I have had. A great mentor of mine, Robert Johnston, says that life is often about opportunity and also accessibility. And I've had access to incredible people, as we all have, and I've had the opportunity and been sometimes when I was younger asked kind of forcefully to step into the opportunity to sit and listen and to trade these people with these incredible minds. And so I feel very blessed to have done that. Now, to get back to what we're doing here today, I wanted to share just a few things about the people that I've met. Again, to once again ground what I'm going to say. I know that I am much younger than many of the people who are watching this, and so while I speak and while I share teachings, I don't mean to teach you. In a way, it's not really polite or right for younger people to tell older people how to live your lives. So that's not what I'm doing today. My hope is that I can share these things with the same love and in that spirit that they were given to me, and that love and that helpful spirit will lift our hearts today. Awesome. Yes, welcome everyone to our week 2 of the Native Wellness Institute Power Hour. We've had 7 consecutive days prior to this day, and we've had awesome stuff all the way from poetry slam, indigenous style, to storytelling, to a sit-down talk with Auntie Theta, really great speakings by my other friends with the Indigenous 20-somethings project, and even Casey, Crazy Casey, who will be making a comeback, which I'm super pumped about as well. If you haven't seen those videos prior to coming to this one, be sure to check them out. And we are going to continue to have these power hours every day at 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So come and join us. Sure, most of us have the time to do it. So if you feel so inclined, we'd love to have you. Tomorrow is going to be Jolene Joseph. And if you haven't had the opportunity to hear Jolene speak, she's an incredible speaker. Someone who comes from a world of experience and has been blessed with a great mind to be able to interpret the things that come into her heart. So I really encourage everyone to come tomorrow as well. Thank you for being here today. I wanted to start today with, excuse me, just practicing that CDC, good healthy motion, not using my hands, not touching the face. I wanted to start today with a story. And I wanted to start also with a tool? Yes, a tool. This is a knife that was given to me by my cousin. It's a buffalo nickel on the end, an antler, and then a Benchmade blade with a super awesome sheath. My knives are incredibly important to me. My professional life has been mainly outdoors, working in wilderness therapy, research and rescue, and also working in adventure tourism as a guide. In doing these outdoorsy things, often we have to be able to shape certain tools for shelters, to traps, to different weapons like quick makeshift bows, blah blah blah. You get the picture. Our knife helps us to be able to shape the world around us. And I wanted to start with our knife, my knife, because there's a great story that goes along with it. And the story goes like this. I was told by a really good friend of mine, Michael Sanders. He says that the wind has a spirit of her own, and that's how she's able to move around the world. And the wind, as she goes on her journey, she picks up all of the words and all of the thoughts and all of the feelings from every person along her way. And she keeps them and she holds them tight. When we finish our walk here in this life and we prepare to move on, to go back home to our people, the wind does something with those. She gifts them back to us. And my mentor, Michael, he told me that. He said, when the wind gives those things back to us, we will either be really happy or really sad. And I think personally, from my own life experience so far, I'm probably going to feel like the extreme of both in a lot of ways. But he said to me, he said, we have to be sure that we don't only own those things at the end, that we're mindful of what we're going to gift ourselves, so that we use our words and our thoughts and our feelings in a good way. Just like a knife. Every stroke of the blade is final. When carving something, you can make a mistake and rework that mistake into something beautiful. But it's important to remember that we did make that move. He said, if you're not using a knife, Josh, put it away. He said, when you are using your knife, keep your fingers out of the way. Carve away from yourself. And I thought it was a beautiful way to teach I thought it was a beautiful way to teach knife safety. And that story has grown up with me since that time. That idea of owning your thoughts and your words and your feelings in the moment that you have them and being intentional. We're people. Things go through our head, a million things a day. And we can't always be proud or super happy or want to share everything that goes through our head. But it is important to be mindful of those things. And one of the reasons why I wanted to bring that up is because now in 2020, this COVID-19 stuff is going around, this pandemic, and a lot of us are on lockdown. I'd actually go as far as to say every one of us, all 95 here, are on lockdown and only asked to leave our house, only for essential needs. I would encourage everyone to continue to practice safe social distancing when we are out, and to limit our movement to as little as possible so that we can help reduce the risk of this pandemic blowing up. But during this time of confinement, we're left to our thoughts. And the only way to get away from our thoughts in many ways is just like home projects or Netflix. A lot of us are out of work currently, and that can be a big stress. Even if you're working from home, having your family constantly around you while you're trying to be all professional and stuff, like that can be a stress too. And so I just wanted to share that idea about the wind, the story of how we can own our thoughts and feelings, because when this stops, when this ends, and we're able to return back and continue on our path in more of a normal way than what's going on now, I hope that all of us are proud of what we've done during this time. I hope that all of us are okay with the things that we felt during this time. And I hope that all of us say things during this time that we wouldn't mind other people hearing. And the reason why I share that is because only the best things in this life are meant for us. And the way that I know that is because of the way that my ancestors dressed. My ancestors, who came from Montana and now are in Oklahoma, they, even today when we dance, wear beautiful otter skins. We have seashells. We're nowhere near the sea. We have seashells decorating our dresses. We wear elk teeth to show that our men and our family members, those who belong to that man spirit, who carry out those duties, are great hunters. And we show our wealth on the outside. But in our culture, in my culture, in the Kiowa culture, we're also told to be humble. We're also told to be respectful. And so when I was asking my sister, actually, my sister Jordan, about some of those things, what she thought about that, she said they wore these things because they knew that's what they were meant for. They knew that only the best things in this life were meant for our people. And so they dressed themselves up in these crazy, audacious, beautiful things when they went into battle, when they went into ceremony, when they went to present themselves to other people. All of you deserve those things too. Every great thing in this life belongs to you. You deserve it. You're not only worthy, you're worth it. And so I hope that we remember that. When times get really tough, when we start thinking kind of down thoughts, we want to say things that don't really serve us as people, when they don't help our hearts, remember, I am worthy, I am worth it. Worthy of what? Worth what? Every great thing that this life has to offer. Now, I wanted to come outside because, one, I'm talking about the teachings of our First Mother, those that have come to me, and those that I have been blessed to experience and have the mind to be able to interpret in my own way. And one of the reasons why I came out here is because of this background. All of our plant relatives. While we're going through this time, I think it's super important to remember that there are many things that support that statement. It's not something that just makes us feel nice. Modern science has taught us that trees give off oxygen, that they're able to take in our carbon dioxide, which is a poison to us as humans, repurpose that, and then release oxygen, all the while continuing to grow up. And so I wanted to come out because these are the ones who are breathing for us. These are relatives. Ah, come, Bobby. That's what I hear when I look out here. Carry on, friend. Carry on, little brother. Keep going. Don't stop. Keep going. So when we're feeling down or we're feeling out, one lesson that I would like to share, one thing that's come to me that I want to give to everyone here is to look out. To look out. If you're struggling with looking in, just look out. Find a plant. If for some reason there's not a plant in sight, draw one on a piece of paper. But focus on that idea that these trees here breathe for us. Everything in the natural world wants you to succeed. Even the trees breathe for you. And that's a powerful thing. The reason why it's important to remember that is because it validates, it supports that statement that we're only meant for the best things. But on top of that, it tells us that they are speaking to us. It tells us that they are still trying to help us. Our cultures come from the natural world. All of our stories incorporate things like coyote, great rainfall, the thunderbird, the speakings from the bear, the changing of the seasons. They are all ways of interpreting the natural world. Our first mother, who teaches all women how to love her children perfectly, our first mother was the one who gave those things to us. And there has never been any policy put out by the U.S. federal government. There has been no soldier, there has been no person who has broken any kind of ceremony or hurt anyone any kind of way that has stopped her from speaking to us. And I think that's incredibly important. Those teachings that kept our ancestors strong, that helped them understand the world that they were in, that built them up to this place that we love and revere and want for ourselves. She gave it to them, and she is waiting to give it to us. So if there is an opportunity for you to be able to experience some of that love and get out of the house and be around some nature, I would encourage you to please do that. And know that our mom always knows what's best. And anything that's troubling us inside, we can go and take it to her, and she'll close it right up for us. Cool. Jeez, we got a lot of people on here. Whoa. Alyssa Stahl bought some plants yesterday. Nice. Bought some plants yesterday too. Thank you everyone for joining me. I'm gonna take a drink of water on camera. I heard this is a big no for people on live TV. They're like, your face always looks terrible, but we're gonna risk it anyways. Sweet. I wanted to also be able to talk a little bit about the medicine of fire. For many of those who are watching who I have already met in person, I love to rub sticks together. It's like a really big hobby of mine. It sounds silly, but I'm totally serious right now. Making fire is a beautiful practice, and it's tied to some incredible principles. Performing that practice of making the fire helps me to remember the principles of fire, and that keeps me safe. Really quickly, if we could all put our hands out in front of us like this. If you're at home, join along. It's much better and cooler if you're doing it rather than just watching some guy on the screen. So you put your hands out, stretch them out as far away from your body as possible, and really spread your fingers and point them up towards the sky and push your palms out away from you. You'll notice that the back of your hands are super wrinkly no matter how old you are. And it looks kind of gross, but that's okay. These bad boys right here, your hands, are incredible when it comes to interpreting the world around us. I want to share something that was taught to me. It was given to me by my grandpa, my papa, who I call him, David Cocker. My papa David said that our hands tell the story of our heart. If you ever want to find out what someone's thinking or how they're feeling, you watch what they do. He said it's only a matter of time until their true actions, their true feelings come out. And from there, we're able to make a judgment on how to be with that person. I think it's super important because fire is only made possible when you work with your hands. And since our hands tell the story of our heart, it supports the teaching that fire is found within our heart. This sun that illuminates the whole California region, and this part of the hemisphere right now that's experiencing day, is illuminated by a fire. And that great fire has the power to heal, to close up, to enlighten the mind, release endorphins, those incredible things. And all of us in our indigenous cultures have stories of the power of fire. That fire from the sky world, that fire from where our ancestors are, far and away with Creator, that fire lives also in our heart and can be accessed with our hands. And that is a powerful thing too. So just going back to that idea that only the best things in this life are meant for us. Fire is our birthright as people, no matter what indigenous community you come from. Whether you're indigenous to England, I don't know what people are indigenous to England, but those guys, they have fire too. All of our relatives all over Asia who practice the same type of fire making methods as we do, they have the gift of fire as well. All of us have the ability to create fire. And when we understand what it is to create fire, we are then able to explore the idea of keeping a fire. I do want to say, though, as a disclaimer, that within our indigenous communities, there are certain rites of passage that only certain people can claim and share with others. And so we can't all who make fire go around saying that we keep a fire. I would be wary of that just because we'd be stepping on some toes in some places. But the idea of a fire keeping you and you keeping a fire alive, that is something that we can all get on board with. I wanted to share this idea an idea of fire, and it coming from the sun. We are able, when we make fire with natural materials, to draw the sky world here to this place. At night, when the sun lays down and the moon of our sister rises, our spirits are vulnerable, our bodies are unconscious, and a lot of the times we just look dead and make weird sounds. During that time, it can be particularly dangerous in certain circumstances. For example, when I was working as a trail guide for a wilderness therapy company, when we would go to sleep, sometimes mountain lions would come around and try to sniff out our food, or bears or raccoons, which are a little less like volatile, and some people don't think they're predators, but if they're taking the only food that you have for that week, yeah, they're kind of a predator. And so all of these animals would come and they'd have free roam in our camp, and there wasn't much in terms of being able to keep them away. Fire is a tool that we used, and it was very successful. What happens when we make a fire with natural materials is that we establish ourselves in a place and we say, this is where we stand. Now again, our first mother loves all of creation perfectly. And that's why all the different trees and types of grass and rivers and fish, all of them can live in the same place and get exactly what they need because she provides. And so what we do is we establish our place and we say, this is ours for now. And this is going to be where we and our people stay. That's what our fire did. And those predators and those relatives who sometimes just wanted to test boundaries and other times wanted to do harm recognized that. They saw that fire and they saw that those who were gathered around it, that was their space. They knew that wasn't their space. And so we had, on one occasion, a mountain lion circle our camp but never come in. And the way that we were able to keep that mountain lion out was continuing to feed that fire throughout the night. And when the sun came up, he left. This is a super helpful teaching to me, and that moment, that night, that night was a really powerful story that I didn't quite understand, and I feel like I'm still stepping into what that means for me in my life. But one thing that I took away a little while later was the idea that if I continue to feed my fire, I will be able to stop predators from entering into my space and challenging my mana. And so I would encourage everyone at this time to feed your fire. There's many ways we can do that. Auntie Thea already talked about that, the idea of self-care and self-care and really just being mindful of where you're at. I would encourage you to feed your fire with everything that you possibly can during this time. It's a time of uncertainty. It's a time of unrest in some places, and it can be challenging. I feel like this COVID-19 pandemic in many ways has tested my mana, came into my home, and made me feel some kind of way sometimes. But I got up, I went for a walk, I played a game on my phone, and then I ate some Cheez-Its. And that was enough to feed my fire for the night. So please, yes, self-love. I love that. Thank you, Mary. All of us who are watching here and everyone who isn't watching, please take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Do what you need to do. There are many ways to do that. Again, last week we were on with the Indigenous 20-somethings project. And we were talking about things that the Indigenous 20-somethings project could inspire other people to do. We said things like learn your language. We said things like pick up small projects around the house. Contact your elders via Skype and learn stories and songs. Check up on each other. Build forts together. All these different things are ways to feed our fire and to keep us safe. All of these feelings and these wisdoms, though, the idea of like eating cheese, it's going on walks, feeding your fire, they are gifts from our first mother. And they support another teaching. They support a teaching that our first mother loves us perfectly and will allow us to become whatever it is that we choose to become. And so, in being aware of that choice and mindful of that choice, we then are empowered to make a good choice. One of the teachings that I was told by my grandpa Tugger, he said, our first mother is here and our creator is here. And in between the love of our creator and our first mother is where we are found. And we are always supported, day and night. And I love that idea. I love that idea. Okay, I feel like I'm going on a tangent. I hope I'm not boring anyone. Really like those words. Thank you. Appreciate you too. I have something else here for you. Now, I pulled out a knife and told a story. I'm going to bring out a trap and then I'm going to tell a story as well. I find it easiest to speak when supported by certain practices. My grandpa Carlos said that our people have always been a principle-based people. And when you combine the principle with practice, the wisdom of that practice becomes alive to you. And I love that because it's come to mean some pretty incredible things for me. But one of the things that it means is when you teach about certain things, especially the things that my grandpas and my uncles and my aunties and my grandmas have given me, I try to do it in the way that I learned it. So I will pull some stuff up. Okay. Do you mind helping me out with this part? Okay, cool. I have here string attached to 2 sticks and then another stick. This is one stick that I've just made 2 cuts and then snapped in half, and that's how it came out. And then this is our anchor stick. This whole thing right here, this is a trap set. And this trap can support a pretty big rock or log and has the power to be able to take out animals the size of foxes or rabbits. I wanted to talk a little bit about traps because in talking to some of my friends over in New Zealand, back home in New Zealand, over in Australia, and all over the US, there is this sense of like, oh my gosh, I'm so bored, man. I just feel so trapped sometimes. Just want to get out and do stuff. It's super important to understand traps because then we can explore the idea of feeling trapped or the idea of like feeling triggered. And so I wanted to set a trap with you guys and to show you what that's like really quick. So if you wouldn't mind, just come with me. Need that one. The camera will be moving. Sorry, just the phone, please. Thank you. And the camera is being handled by my beautiful partner, Miss Eva Pagling, who does not want to be seen, but must be. So one of the important things about traps is understanding your environment and understanding the animal that you're pursuing. Knowing their traps is definitely a good thing, but also being aware of their feeding times, their habits of movement throughout the day and night. And if you can locate where they drink water, that's super helpful as well. Come on over here. We have 2 minds. And our 4-legged relatives, they help us understand how to be with family. They teach us a lot about community. They teach us a lot about how to be as an individual in that community, but also how to be lost in that community in the best ways. One of the things that I've learned from trapping is that our 4-legged relatives also help us to understand the mind of our predator self. And that often is not something that's really thought of, or I don't know how to say that. It's seen as a bad thing to say that someone is a predator. But I also think that it's super important that we remember that all of us have the ability to step into that space. And I don't mean that in like a sexual predator way or any kind of like super harmful to the community, but there are great teachings in understanding that part of our mind. So I want to share some of those here with you. Okay. All right. So this is our trap here. Super simple in design. We have one stick, which is our post and trigger set, essentially. And then we have our anchor stick, which is back here. Can you tilt the camera down just a little bit, please? And come over this way. Cool. And then this rope here is our bait line. This is incredibly simple in its design, but it's very effective in doing what it's designed to do, which is stop the progress of any living thing that travels through this way. When trapping, you'll have tracks coming through. I'll just set a scenario to be able to paint a clear picture. This right here is our pond where everyone comes to drink. We've come and we visited. We found, there's a rabbit here. We are pretty hungry for rabbit stew, so we're gonna get one. You set the trap up along the path of the rabbit and you know that he goes to this water source. This trap set up just like this does not have a high likelihood of killing the rabbit that you're pursuing. In order to kill the rabbit that you're pursuing, you have to bait the rope. It's the bait that makes this dangerous. This trap set up just alone, just a couple of sticks out in the woods, and animals are pretty good at avoiding sticks. But when there is bait here in the middle of this dangerous situation, it will draw the rabbit to it. And when the rabbit comes through, sees the bait, and takes it, fall down, knock him in the head and kill him. Kind of grim. One of the things that I love about this trap is that it's super simple to make, really fun for young people to get a hold on, but it teaches a lot. A lot of the times in our lives, when we feel trapped, when we feel triggered, we see these things in retrospect. Should have seen that coming. So clear. Hey, walk with me back this way. And it is. Traps are very simple in design. It's the bait that draws us into those that make them dangerous. During this time, when we feel alone and we feel kind of stuck, it can be easy to slip into these dangerous thoughts that hurt our spirit and, again, don't serve us as people. Do you mind putting that back on? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Sweet. So, all that to say, in retrospect, again, all these things seem very simple and straightforward. I always, when I talk to kids about this, especially younger people, I'm still a kid, I feel like. When I talk to younger people about this, I often refer to like a breakup. Like, oh my gosh, that ex-girlfriend, like, so many red flags, man. Should have seen that coming, you know? Oh, why? Oh, so cut up, but it makes so much sense. We don't have to feel those things. You know, we don't have to go through them. Again, every great thing in this life is meant for us. And although it can be helpful to learn from those things in retrospect, we don't necessarily need to have to go through that pain. That's not meant for us. And so I would encourage all of us, since we have the time on our hands, to do a bit of self-evaluation. Check it out. What are those things that bait us into those terrible places? What are those things that entice us to come into those places where it's hard to get out of, where it makes it difficult to love others, where it makes it difficult to love ourselves, to be okay with what's happening. And I hope and encourage everyone to be able to carry on with those teachings in a good way. I trust, like Uncle Gene said, that voice in your head that helps you make sense of the world around you, I trust that teaching and that visualization was able to help you. Hey, what's our time?
12:35.
12:35. Nailed it. So, thank you for everyone coming. Just gonna check the comments really quick. Thank you, Theta. I love this trap as well. Sandra, Gwitch. I was told to keep out a look on the comments to try to see if well, I was just told to keep an eye on the comments. But I've kept an eye on the comments, so there we go. I hope that everyone who's out of work right now is feeling okay with that too, actually, because I was talking to some other members of the I-20SP team. What's up, John? John? Sorry. A couple members of the I-20SP team last week, and one thing that they were talking about was how it's hard to be out of work, how it's hard to be home all the time. And my sister Sib said something that was super awesome and very brave, and hadn't even crossed my mind. What she had said in our live video last week was that anyone who's out of work, I hope that you don't feel shame attached to that. I hope that you don't feel sadness attached to that. If you're unable to be able to come up with the things that you have and that you need, reach out for help and let's make things happen. We have communities. We come from people that want to support each other. That traditionally, that's what we're meant for, and that's what we're built for. So I hope that everyone's going through this time with as little bit of stress as possible. Kia ora, auntie. I wanted to also be able to share a story. Actually, hold up. Time out. Let me just say this. There's 116 people right now, and I can't see any of your faces. 120. This is different for me. This is really different for me. So I hope I'm not like just blowing through stuff and speaking at some kind of crazy fast rate. What's up, shit? And I hope that this is all making sense, and I hope it's helping. But I want to be able to share a story while we have time from my grandpa. And this story is about a bear and a chief. And way back in the day when Kiowas lived up in Montana, in the cold country is what we refer to it as. The Kiowa chief had a daughter, and she was beautiful. And she was so sweet and playful and cried only at the most convenient times. And this baby girl was called Ade Matan, which means favorite daughter. My grandpa told me this story when I was a kid. He said that this little girl was so loved, not only by her parents, but by the entire village, that nobody made her do anything. Said her feet didn't even touch the ground. She was just carried everywhere. And as a little baby, she was dressed in the most beautiful things. And they made sure that she always had what she needed, and that she was always with someone. And this baby girl, when she grew up, she started to become of age. And she only knew how to play. She only knew how to have fun. She only knew how to eat. She only knew how to be cuddled when it was time to go to bed. And there were people in our encampment who said that this little girl needs to learn what it is to be a Kiowa, because she can't be like that when she's older. She's going to have to be able to take care of herself if she's going to be a part of our people, because that is our way. That is our way. And the chief was sitting there listening to this. And he says, okay, that's a good idea. We'll give her a chore. And so he gave her the job of going down to the river and gathering water. So every morning she would wake up and call her over. Matan, come here, baby girl, and he'd brush her hair. And he would chalk her dress and paint her face and send her on her way. And she would go down. And when she was down at the water, she'd gather that water and then come running back. She got back into camp. She would just go off and play. And it was a good chore for her. And she was growing in that work. But it was mainly just to keep everyone else happy and just have her do something. Well, the older she got, it seemed to be the more time she would spend at that river. And she would come back later and later in the day. And her dad started to kind of wonder what's going on, question this. And so he asked her, "What are you doing down there? What's going on?" "Oh, nothing, don't worry about it." Said, okay. And carried on their way. The years went on, and she started spending more and more time outside. Go down early in the morning, and she'd come back late in the afternoon. One day she went out early in the morning, came back late in the afternoon, but this time her dress was all dirty, and her hair was all crazy, and her paint was smeared. And he was, "What is happening down there? What's going on, baby girl?" And she says, "Oh, don't worry about it, Dad. Don't worry about it. It's nothing. Nothing to worry about." Says, okay. So, it carried on like this for some time, but her dad still just had this growing concern in his heart. One day, she went out early in the morning after having her hair done and her dress cleaned and her face painted, and she came back right before sundown. And she was dirty, and her paint was smeared, and her hair was messy, and her dad asked again, "What is happening down there?" And she told her dad, "No, don't worry about it, it's nothing." But this didn't quite sit right this time. Didn't quite feel good. And so, with this concern growing, and with this time passing, and not talking about it, it got bigger and bigger and bigger, until he just had enough. And so he said, "Okay." So she went and she played. When she went and played, he went and got her brothers. He said, "Your sister, something's going on down at the river. I need you to find out what's happening. Take care of it." My brother said, "Okay, yeah, we'll go find out what's going on and we'll come back and tell you." So, the next morning, she goes down to the river to gather water. And her brothers, they follow her. And they get down to the river. She stands on the opposite side of the bank. And she calls out. And a bear comes from the woods. He jumps on her. And they start playing. And he's kissing her, playing with her hair and cuddling. And the brothers don't understand what's happening. They're unable to grasp the situation. They just can't make sense of it. And so they rode home. And they told their dad, "Hey, this is what's happening. Our sister, I think, fell in love with a bear. It doesn't make sense, but this is what happened." Dad said, "Go back and you kill that bear." And so they did. The brothers rode back, and the sister came, and they missed each other. And so she comes home with a dirty dress, messy hair, and smeared paint on her face. Her dad asking, "What happened?" She said, "Nothing, Dad. Don't worry about it." Alright. And that was it. Later, after the sun had gone down, her brothers came back and told their father that they had killed the bear. He said it was good. Well, the next day, she wakes up, calls her over, brushes her hair, paints her face, cleans her dress, and away she goes. She walks all the way down to the river. She gets there. She calls out for her bear. But this time, the bear didn't come. So she waited. She sat there for a long time, sitting by the river, looking around at the trees, throwing rocks. Nothing. She started to become impatient. She called out again. Bear didn't come. So she spoke to the river, and the river stood up and spoke back to her. "Where is my bear?" The river says, "I haven't seen your bear. I'm sorry, sister." She prayed to Creator for help, so she did. And Creator sent a messenger, someone to speak to her. So, "Where is my bear?" And this messenger told the girl, "Your brothers killed him." And her heart began to break, and it started to get filled up with all kinds of feelings and thoughts and emotions, and it was just too much. She didn't know what to think or how to feel about it, but she knew it was happening. And so she didn't know what to do. So she did, I feel like what most of us are doing, asked, "Can you take me to the bear? Can I see?" And messenger said, "Yeah, follow me. So they followed each other all the way to the bear. And when they got there, she saw that the bear was dead and that those arrows did belong to her brothers. And it started to turn something in her. And she started to make sense of what she was feeling. And she started to decide upon what she was going to feel. And instead of confusion and overwhelming heartache and pain, she felt anger as well. And she felt resentment. And with all of these feelings and a now broken heart, she took on that bear and became a bear. And she went home, back to the encampment that she was born into. And she started to rip that place to pieces. And all these Kiowas are running around. There's a freaking crazy bear out there. And this bear's just going from camp to camp, just boom, 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 boom. And the chief walks out, her dad, and sees this bear. And he's like, oh my gosh, we've done something terrible. We've killed the bear, and now this bear in camp trying to kill us, and my daughter's not back. And so he starts to freak out and doesn't really know what to do. So he starts to take off towards his horse. And while she's beelining it for her dad, she sees her brothers, and then she's like, boop, those guys. And her brothers get on their horses, and they ride so fast and so hard and so long that they kill their horses, but her sister doesn't give up. So the sister is following these brothers, and they're running, and they're asking all of their relatives, petitioning all their relatives on the fly, please help me, please help me. We don't want to die. This rock says, jump on me, and I'll keep you safe. So the brothers, boom, boom, jump on the rock, and it begins to grow. But this girl is not having it, man. Her sister is just on one. So she's starting to rip at the rock and climb and go after them, and still just being relentless. And the rock's climbing, 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 and then all of a sudden it stops. And the rock says, I'm sorry, I can't take you any further. But the sister is still coming. And those boys, fearing for their life, pleaded with the sky. They looked to their relatives above and they asked for help. Please help us. We do not want to die. The sky says, jump to me and I'll keep you safe. So all those brothers, they jump into the sky and they became stars. Sister, when she got up to the top of that rock, saw that she couldn't get to them. She was still heartbroken, still angry, and still sad. She came down that rock, walked all the way back home. She didn't know where to go. So she goes back to the place where she was brought up, where she was born into. And when she was there, and when she had come across that encampment, she just walked right into camp. Everyone saw this bear. That little girl had not returned. Those boys who left had not returned. And now the chief has no children. And he sees this bear and perceives, perhaps, that this bear has killed my family. And so he prepares an arrow, counts coup, stakes himself to the ground, and begins to sing his song. And the bear walks right up to him and sits down. And their spirits talk to each other. That dad can feel his little girl. And then his heart begins to break. He doesn't feel that what he had done was wrong, that his girl was taken from him. She's now a bear. He didn't know whether to ask for her back or not. And so what he did do was he made a treaty with her. He asked that she go and promise that the coyotes would never again kill a brown bear. And so that's what she accepted. She kind of shook her head and off she went. That's kind of the end of the story, which is a little bit of a downer, but there's a lot of great things in there too. My grandpa told me a lot of things about this story, both my grandpa Buddy and my grandpa Carlos. And when they would tell this story, or when they would reference this story, one thing that they would talk about often is the idea that we can't be afraid. That fear does not help us. That our ancestors fought, lived, died, walked, survived, so that we wouldn't need to feel fear. Now, fear is natural. It's not a bad thing. but allowing it to control the way that we think, the way that we feel, the way that we act, that can be dangerous. In fact, my grandpa's told me that when we act out of fear, that we kill ourselves in the process and we chase everyone that we love away. And it's really hard to come back from. That little girl acted out of fear. For whatever reason, she didn't tell those people that she trusted and loved. And that lack of communication led eventually to the mistrust that built with her and her dad. That mistrust and frustration of the unknown for dad, that fear of not knowing, caused him, or he chose, not caused, he chose to act on that, from that, with that, and because of that. And so he killed her lover. Those boys, following what their dad said, and then being confronted by their actions, right, doing things that they did not understand or have any reason to do, caused them to lose their sister and their father. That's a very extreme example, and I genuinely hope that none of us do turn into bears and lose our family. If that has happened in your family line, I'll pray for you guys, and I hope that that doesn't happen again. But what I do know is that it is easy for us as people to feel fear. And it is also easy for us as people to think and act and speak from fear. And I do know, and I do believe that my grandpas were correct, that they meant what they said and said what they meant when they told me that if we act out of fear, we will kill ourselves in the process and we will chase all those that we love away. During this time, thank you, Kim. During this time of our self-quarantine, of this global pandemic, of economic uncertainty, there's a lot trying to invite us into this idea of fear. We don't have to feel that. We don't have to take on the fears of others. We can let the mountain speak for itself. We can just make our walk and be afraid of the things that we choose to be afraid of. But don't, I would encourage, please, don't watch the news. Don't listen to what people are saying and take on those things that they're feeling. Communication could have saved that girl. Communication could have saved that dad, and communication could have saved those boys. So I'd encourage all of us to communicate. When those things come up inside of us, share them with those that we care about. Share them with those that we care about. One of the things that we talk about in the trainings that we do, if you haven't been to one of our trainings yet, you should come. It's super fun and awesome, and I look forward to seeing you, is that trauma has some unspoken rules. When we experience traumatic things, they tell us to don't talk, don't trust, and don't feel. Don't talk, don't trust, and don't feel. The best way to overcome those things is to talk, to trust, and to feel. And so while we're feeling these things, I'd encourage you to talk to people about it. I would encourage you to trust someone enough to share those things. And in doing so, we will share that load with other people so that all of us as a community are carrying these hard times, and we as a people will come out better because of it. Well, hold on one second. I can talk for a long time, but let me just check in real quick. 5 minutes? Oh. I love you guys. I genuinely, honestly, wholeheartedly love you guys. And I'm grateful for all of you who have joined me. And I look forward to seeing all of you guys on the other side of this. This has been a beautiful opportunity that the Native Wellness Institute and the Indigenous 20-somethings Project has afforded me. The opportunity to have a platform to speak from. I have a lot of things that I'm going through right now. I'm sure that you have a lot of things that you're going through right now. But together, we're going to be okay. This is going to be all right. It's only going to be a matter of time. I would encourage you to continue on with all the good things that you're doing and to reach out so that you can gain more understanding. Really take the time to be able to go outside and to reconnect with those trees that gave our ancestors the things that they know. If you are on your own land, the trees breathe for us. The trees have been recycling air, the same air that's been on this planet since the beginning of time. That means that all of our ancestors who have been in these places have drawn the same breath. I am right now a visitor to this territory. This is my partner's territory. But I know and believe that her ancestors were powerful, that they wanted great things for their people, and that they lived lives worthy of incredible stories. They drew on this here valley behind me. These trees provided them with the breath that they had. And now I have the opportunity to rely on that same breath. And in that way, I know that those trees are helping me to carry on. Your relatives, the plant nation, the rock nation, the water nation, the animal nation, where you are right now, although they don't speak with words that we're used to hearing, are asking you to carry on in the best way that you can. And so I ask you to please keep doing that. Reach out to us if you need help. Say something when you feel like saying something. And I really do look forward to seeing everyone on the other side of this. Super grateful again for this opportunity. Tomorrow's Native Wellness Institute Power Hour is coming at you at, again, 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Whatever that means for you in your time zone, be here with us, please. That'd be great. Jalene Joseph will be taking that, and she is, again, an incredible speaker. So I look forward to watching that along with you guys. And I also look forward to hearing about the great things that are happening in your community at this time, because there are great things. I love you guys. Stay safe, stay home, and we'll catch up with you soon. Okay, bye. I don't know how to end this thing, but...
You know. A couple minutes.